Hey everybody, Aaron Blaise here, and a while back I did a kind of quick start guide for TVPaint. At the time I was using TVPaint 10, and it's actually been really popular. TVPaint is the software that I use to do my hand-drawn animation digitally. As many of you know, my background is hand-drawn animation done on paper. I worked for Walt Disney Feature Animation for 21 years, and I worked on The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast and Pocahontas and Mulan and a lot of the films through the 90s. I directed Brother Bear. And as we moved into the digital age, I still wanted to draw in a traditional manner, and I started using the Cintiq made by Wacom, where you can draw and paint right on the screen. And I tried several different softwares for animation, and the one that I've really come to love is TVPaint. TVPaint to me is the closest that I've been able to find to real hand-drawn animation. But it gives me options that I think are above hand-drawn animation, excuse me. Where I think actually my animation when I'm working on my Cintiq drawing digitally actually comes out a little better than if I had been doing it on paper. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, so a while back I did this quick start guide on how to get started in TVPaint. That was TVPaint 10. That's what I was using at the time. Since then, TVPaint 11 has come out. And I've started using that, and I love it. There's a lot of great new stuff that they've added. And so I thought I would take you guys through that and kind of show you the bells and whistles, take you kind of through my process in creating an animated shot. And that's one of the things I want to emphasize. It's my process. Just like a lot of different softwares out there, whether it's Photoshop or something else, TVPaint is very, very robust. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can do any one thing, which means it's very adaptable to the way you want to do it. And so for me, as a traditional animator, coming from, drawing on paper where I would rough out my drawings and then put a new sheet of paper over the top and tie my drawings down, I just had a certain process in the way that I would animate my shots for the movies at Disney. TVPaint allows me to do that. So I can rough out a scene, I can knock the opacity down, create a new layer on top, and I can do it the same way that I did it when I was working for Disney. So that's really cool. And so what I thought I would do, and stop talking so much to the camera, is I would take you through my process. So let's jump over to the interface. This is the new TVPaint 11, the very latest version interface. And so there's a lot of cool things in here. You've got a bunch of different tools over on the left side here. I'm just going to briefly go over what you get. Right here, obviously, this is my drawing surface right here. That's going to be our piece of paper. Right now, I'm at 1920 or 1080 by 1920. So it's a standard HD setting. Right down here is my timeline. So this is where all of the different layers will go, whether they're drawing layers, effects layers, paint layers, background layers. All of that will go down in here, along with sound. And I'm going to take you guys through and show you how to do sound. And then there's some different controls over here that we're going to go through. You can play back the scene right up here. There's a lot of different things, and we'll just jump right into it. One of the first things that I do, that I want my drawing surface to be as big as it possibly can be. And so one of the things you can do, and I use the 0 as my shortcut. You should just click on 0 on the keyboard. It will get rid of all of the timeline down on the bottom, and I can just draw a full screen. And then if I need to go back and create a new drawing on the timeline or shift some timing around, I can just hit 0 again, and it brings me right back. Now this button right here, if I hover over the top of it, you'll see that it's the minimize and maximize button. If I click that button and I hit the 0, you can see that it doesn't go full screen like I want it to. So make sure if you want to go full screen, you click on that button, and now I can go full screen just like so, okay? So that's the first thing. That's the first thing I make sure that I can do before I start drawing. Now, I've just created a new document. And like I said, this is how it sets up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say create a new project so that you guys can see how you can set up your aspect ratio, your frame rates, all that kind of stuff. So right here, you can actually go higher def than 1920 by 1080. I've gone all the way up to 2-3K before. It might bog down your computer if your computer's not fast enough, but just to let you know, you can get very, very detailed. So that's very cool. And then your frame rate is adjustable too. Because my background is feature animation, we always worked at 24 frames per second. So that's what I'm used to. So that's the frame rate that I'm going to be working at. And then the aspect ratio right here is 1, which is a standard aspect ratio. And right here, you can see that there's the frame rate. And so if I click on this, there's a whole bunch of different choices that they'll give you for your frame rate. Or you can just customize it and put something else in there. But like I said, I like to keep it at 24. When you open it up, when you bring TVPaint up and you get this new document, it automatically gives you your first frame and it's on an animation layer, okay? So it's ready to start drawing right away. So that part I like. Now, as far as trying to pick out what tool you might want, if you come over here and just kind of hover on the side, it'll give you a huge selection of tools. And they're all adjustable. It would take me hours and hours and hours just to go through the tool sets and all the different adjustments you can do. My favorite, and I don't bring in any, as a matter of fact, I don't bring any custom brushes in. I find that what's here works great for me, for what I like to do. There's 3 pencils right up here that I love. And right here, there is a 2B pencil, just like what you would have normally. And I click on that. And right over here, I click on the pencil icon right there. And now all of a sudden, I've got the pencil. Now, all of this is completely adjustable. So right now, it's set for 80% opacity or power. The opacity is 100%. And the size is 10 pixels. So if I go ahead and draw, it has a pretty nice pencil line, you can see. And it's so because I'm working on this on the Cintiq, it's pressure sensitive. But if you're working on a tablet, it's the same thing. If you want to work on a tablet and draw, the line quality I think is great. Okay, and then your color, just like in Photoshop, if you're familiar with Photoshop, you can grab your color anywhere over here. So if I want to go darker, now I've got a nice dark line right here, okay? But when I first start out in working rough, I like to go a little bit lighter. So I like to work in gray. But once again, there's that really cool, nice flowing line. It's really, really great. Now, if you want to get rid of it, you can either come up here. If you don't like the drawing is what I'm saying. You can either come up here and there's a skull and crossbones and you can click on that, or you can just go Shift K and it deletes everything that you've just drawn, okay? Now, the other thing you can do, if you don't want to get rid of the whole drawing, you just want to erase part of it, because I'm working with a stylus that has the little eraser on the back on a Cintiq, or you could be working on a tablet, I can also just come in here and erase, and you can actually go in and adjust the size of your eraser as well, okay? So you have those 2 options. You can get rid of the entire drawing with Shift K, or you can just erase with your stylus, okay? So now I'm gonna jump back over to my pencil, and why don't we just go ahead and start drawing? I'll go over some of these other tools later on in a different video, but right now I want to take you through my process and how I would get started animating a scene. Actually, first, I want to do a scene that has some dialogue in it. Okay, so I've previously recorded with my son him saying "Oh my," and I want to do this lion kind of talking, lip syncing with that dialogue. So adding dialogue is actually extremely simple. So we're going to come over here and I'm going to click on this button right here. And when you click on it, it gives you the option of load a soundtrack. Very simple. So I come on here click on load a soundtrack, and now it gives me, takes me to my files. I'm going to go to my documents. And within my documents, I've got this MP3 file that I've previously set up. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and just hit load. Now, you'll see that it's loaded up, and I'm going to drag this down, and there's my sound right here. Now, if I play it, I want the shot to be a certain length. If I just hit play now after loading the sound, it won't do anything. If I just hit, see, I need my mark in and mark out, which means I need to tell the software how long I want this shot to be. So right now my mark in is at frame 1, which is the beginning of the scene. And we're going to go to the mark out, and I'm going to make it 76 frames long. I already know that's how long this scene is. And so now, when I play it, and the other thing too, I want to show you, I want you to be able to see the entire length. Right now you can see that the frames, these are all our frames right here down at the bottom. These frames, they end at 39. They go off the frame, off the screen. But if I go over to this little icon right here, put my stylus down on it, and move it left or right, I can compress the frame. So now you can see that the mark out is at 76 frames right there. See that? That's frame 76. And then also you can see it not only compresses the frames, but it compresses the dialogue. See the dialogue box right there, okay? So now I'm going to hit play.
Oh my. Oh my.
There, so now you can hear, now it's playing the full length of the shot.
Oh my.
And now I've got dialogue that I can animate to. Now, I've already kind of worked out what I want to do here before doing this video. So I already know that I want the beginning of the dialogue to slide a little bit later. I want him to have a little bit of anticipation, my character to have a little bit of anticipation before he starts to talk. So I want to go ahead and slide this dialogue, and all I got to do is just grab it and slide it. I'm going to slide it up to frame 9. Like so.
Oh my.
And that's all there is to it. So you can slide the dialogue all over the place. Now, one of the other cool things you can do, so we can come up here, and if I hover over this line right here, you see it'll give me the option to move it up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. I can pull that dialogue down like so, and it gives me this gray line. Now, what's very cool about this, back in the old days, when we had our exposure sheets in animation, an exposure sheet was where we wrote out all of our drawings, where it's synced up with dialogue, all the different camera instructions were in there. It was everything you needed, all the information you needed to shoot a scene. Well, one of the things that they did for us back in the day was the dialogue. For those of you that are a little bit younger and you work in dialogue now, you can see like what we have right here. You just get the waveform. All you get is a bunch of squiggly lines. Well, we actually had the luxury of someone that would listen to the dialogue ahead of time and write out, along where the frame markers were, they would actually write out the words as it went down the frames. So we could see, we could actually read the dialogue, literally read it, as we moved across all the frames on the X sheet. And so this kind of gives you that same ability. So right here, and I'll show you what I mean, I can move along, I can scrub by grabbing, I can grab the frame right here. Okay? So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. There we go. So I can listen to that back and forth. Oh. So then I can just come up here and write, oh. And then do my little squiggly line to say, oh. Now if I turn this up a little bit more, I can hear that M. So right in here, there's the and here's the the Y for my, so I'm going to do the squiggly line. And it's going to go up and then down. So we've got, I can write up here, I can write notes, I can write all kinds of cool things right up in the top. And so when this plays,
oh my,
you can actually see, you can read the dialogue, literally read it as it's playing. So it's a very, very cool option if that's something that you're more comfortable with. Or if you're working, you know, in a pipeline. That's one of the great things about TVPaint. I can use it for my own little films that I want to do or the little shots that I want to do. But TVPaint is robust enough that you can use it all the way up to doing an entire feature. As a matter of fact, the Academy Award nominated Song of the Sea that was done nominated last year was completely done on TVPaint. So it's a fantastic piece of software that you can scale up, or you can keep it as simple as just keeping it for yourself, which is what I do. So now I've shown you how you can write out that dialogue on there. Now it's time to, so I'm just going to start with the first drawing. I'm going to come over here and I've got the color already set. Like I said, you can change your color anywhere over here. I've got the, I'm going to go with a slightly smaller brush or pencil width. So right now it's at 10. I'm going to go ahead and just set it at 7 and hit return. And then I'm going to keep the power at 80%. I'm going to keep everything else the same, but I'm going to bring it down to 7. And once again, I'm going to hit that shortcut and go to 0. And I'm just going to start drawing. And so just like I would drawing on paper, I like to rough out that scene first. So I want to start in a neutral pose. I've got this lion character that I've been working on. And so I'm just going to get in here really fast and just start to draw. And once again, you can see that the line quality is very much like a real pencil. And this is one of the big selling points for me, is that it really feels like I'm drawing on paper. And they've really got the touch sensitivity down really well for this. But I want to do this guy right here. And I've been working on this character design for a little while. And I'm going to do some more animation with this guy at some point. But right now I just want to do this little bit of a test for you. And I want him to feel kind of smug. Oh my. And I'm playing that, I'm thinking about that animation, thinking about that dialogue, thinking about that attitude in my head. Oh. And so I want to get this kind of smug look on his face. Maybe his eyes are half closed. And lions have those dark corners to their eyes, so I'm going to do that. Oh, he's got this look right here. And give him a little bit of a smug look right there. Get that other eye. Like so. Here we go. So this is, you know, I can just sit here and relax and draw just like I would, you know, sitting at my animation desk. It's funny, I remember my boss at Disney Feature Animation years ago when I was still in my 20s, which is a long time ago. We were talking about the day that we were going to be doing this. He was telling me, you know, Aaron, one day you're going to be sitting here drawing just like you're drawing right now. You're going to be drawing on a computer screen. And I told him he was wrong. And I said, that's crazy. That's witchcraft. But no, here we are, and I'm teaching you guys how to do it. It's really kind of interesting to me. But anyway, so we're getting this guy drawn in. Now, right now, I want him to be a little smaller, so I can come up here, and you've got these tools over here, and here's the transform tool. So I can click on this transform tool and go, okay, I want it to be smaller. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hold the shift key down. And I'm just going to shrink it down. Hit return, and now I've resized it. And now I can also move it. See that? I'm transforming. I'm moving it around the screen. So I'm going to move it up here. See, this is something I couldn't do on paper, and hit return again. And then I just come back. Now I want to draw. I click on this pencil, and there's my pencil right there. And I'm back to drawing in pencil again. So I'm going to get his little kind of Elvis haircut going up here. I'm going to come on down, get his ears in. This is one of the things I love doing. I love doing character design. It's something I did for, in Aladdin. For those of you that know my work, you know that I love doing animals and animating animals. And so when I worked on Aladdin, I designed an animated Rajah, the tiger. It was a small role, but it was something I really, really enjoyed because I love doing animals so much. And actually, when I was designing him, I actually got to hang out with some small tigers, some young ones, in the pen and play with them. And so there was a lot of fun little benefits that went with my job in that way. So I wanted to get this nice attitude going, get a nice gesture, feel that flow. I'm trying to get flow in this. I'm kind of turning this into a little bit of a drawing lesson too, but that's okay. And we'll come on down. So here, so you can see I've got this attitude now. It's like, oh, just I'm going to get this other ear in real quick, bring it up in the air. So I'm always thinking about attitude. I'm always thinking about, I'm listening to that dialogue and making sure I want to get that attitude right. Okay, so I'm going to squash that muzzle up a little bit. Okay, there. So I'm going to hit that my 0 key, and it brings me back to now. I've got this guy, very roughly drawn in, and now I want to create a new one. But I want it the way I like to do dialogue scenes, and this is what's great about TVPaint. You can do it any way you want. I can either come up here and click, and I'm moving my dialogue right there. I'm going to leave that. I can come up here and just click and get a new drawing. And as far as getting a new drawing, it's as simple as either just drawing, and you can see what's happened is when I started drawing, it's created a new drawing right here. You see that? But I want a clear drawing. So now that I've touched the screen, then I can just go to Shift K, and now I've got a nice clean sheet, and it's a new. If you look down the timeline, it's a new drawing. Now, I want that next key to be where he starts to talk. Okay, so I want that to be somewhere in here where he's saying, oh, okay. But I want to anticipate it. I want to hit it a little bit earlier. So one of the cool things they've provided is you've got these little squares right here. And if I pull this out, you can see I'm extending the number of frames that drawing is exposed for. So I'm going to pull that out here. I'm going to grab this one here, and we're going to pull it there. Now, this drawing right here, you can see it holds for 16 frames. See that number? That's the number of drawings that this drawing is held for 16 frames. Okay? Now we'll come up here, and I've got a new drawing. Well, I want to see, what's back here. Now I can either hit my arrow keys, my front and back arrow, and I can click back and forth. You can hear me going back arrow and front arrow. So I can see animation that way, or I can turn on my light table. And so you'll see there's a light bulb right here. And if I click on that, boom, it shows me the drawing before. I'm going to come up here. See this? This is the light table. And so what it does is it gives you all these numbers. I can look as far as 10 drawings back and 10 drawings ahead. So where I'm, if I'm sitting animating on regular paper, I usually have 5 drawings in my hand, and I'm flipping back and forth and drawing so I can see that animation. Well, this gives me the ability to see even further back and ahead too, so that my animation might be even cleaner than if I'm actually flipping on paper. And that's one of the things that I think is better with TVPaint than actually drawing on paper, because it enables my animation. I can see my arcs better, I can see the drawings better, and it just comes out a little bit smoother. I can also control how bright this is. So right now, the drawings that come before I have set for green, and the drawings that come after are set for violet. But I can pull this down. This is the first drawing back, and you can see there's number 1. I'll just pull this down, and you can see it gets lighter. All right, so now it's as if I'm just kind of looking through the paper. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn this off. There, I don't want that window open. And I can click on 0 and come back, and now I'm ready to start drawing again. And so now I can just click back and forth like so using my arrow keys. And I'm just gonna go ahead and I want him to go, oh, and open his mouth up. So now I just start drawing again. And I wanna get a nice stretch. Now you'll see when I click back and forth, now the drawing, when I click back to my previous drawing, I'm getting the light table showing my drawing that's coming ahead, which is the one I'm drawing now, and you can see it goes to violet, like so. Now what I want to do is I want to bring that down. There we go, so it's not so bright. I might even bring it down even more. Bring both of them down. I don't need it to be so bright. Okay, so there we go. Turn that off again. And I want those eyebrows to come up. So you can see that bit of movement. And I want him to go, oh, so open his eyes up. So we're going to get the eyelids coming in a little bit here. I'm going to bring this up. So you can see I'm using the arrow keys, and I can click back and forth. And I'm going to go ahead, when I go backwards, see that violet? It kind of stands out. It gets a little distracting. Well, in that case, I just turn it off. I can come up here, click these, and turn it off. So now I don't see that at all. So now let me come up here, turn this off. Now I can just see the animation. There we go. And I don't have to be distracted by the light table. I'm just looking at the drawing that comes before, which is that one. So we'll stretch this up. I'm going to leave the nose down a little bit, but I want the nose to feel like it's stretching. So it's going to pull up just a hair. See it pulling up? See, this is what's great. I mean, it feels, when I draw, I click back and forth, it feels like I'm really just drawing on paper, even though I'm drawing on the computer screen. I want those, I'm really pushing these brows way up. Oh. And watch, I'm going to really push the stretch in the mouth. Will come down, this will come down, way down like that. I want to get a nice shape change, get a nice stretch in that dialogue, and go right into the oh. See, I'm doing that oh sound, that oh shape. And that comes down like so. So now look at that, see that? You can get a nice little shape change there. Already we can start to feel that oh, oh, oh. Like so. And because his head is coming down like that, I want to pull down, you can see these hairs right here that are kind of squashed up. I want to pull those down now. Those are going to get pulled down. Oh, that whole face is kind of scrunching up. That feels a little strong, so I'm going to just erase that off like I just did. Maybe bring this ear up a little bit. Bring that hair up just a hair. Bring the hair up a hair. And I can actually, as that ear comes up a little bit, I want to pull, because he's bringing his jaw down, I might want to push this out just a little bit. Get a little bit of movement. See that? I can get a little movement in his mane out here and pull this down. I'll pull this up right in here. And because that jaw, I know his jaw underneath here is coming down, well, that's going to push some of this fur down. There we go, like so. And this is coming down. So now I've got my second key. Very quickly done. And I can erase back if I don't want to see this other stuff. I can erase all this stuff back, like some of my construction lines. I don't need all that stuff. Just get rid of it. So now, see, he's anticipating that oh. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and finish roughing this out in much the same way I just explained to you. So I'm going to come through, and then I'm going to create another drawing right here, just like I did earlier with the M for my, and then do an open mouth for my, and I'm just going to go through and hit my rough drawings, hit my rough keys, and just listen to this. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and I've roughed everything out, and you can see as I scroll through, I've got all of my drawings exposed for the length that I want to hit on my listening to that dialogue. So you can see if I can shift things this way, or I can grab the top and shift individual drawings within. You see that? So I can shift all my timing. I've got everything going for 76 frames. I've got my dialogue slid to, it starts at frame 9. I've got all that set up, and I've just got my keys. This is how I always animate. I like to just hit my keys. I'll worry about all the in-between drawings that smooth all the action later. And you can see I've kept everything nice and rough. Now when I play it, I've only done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drawings. But with those 7 drawings, you see the attitude, you can see the animation, you can see the acting. And you can see that they're very rough. So, and that only took, it took about half an hour to do or about 45 minutes to do all those drawings. But now it's all set, and I can sit down and relax, and I can start tying things down. Now this is where it comes in handy. I was telling you about earlier where I can kind of adapt it to my style. Well, this is what I do. I like to rough everything out like so, like I've done, and then the way that I used to do it, I would do all my rough drawings just like this on pieces of paper, and then I would take each drawing, lay it down, and put a new sheet of paper over the top and redraw and tie those drawings down, make them pretty, basically. So what I'm going to do here is I have that ability. First thing I can do is I've got here's the animation layer right here. This is the opacity, and if you look, see that opacity go up and down. Well, I can drop that opacity way down. Here I've got a 28%. And I'll play it, and you can see everything's very, very light. Well, then now what I want to do is I want to create a new animation layer over the top. So right here, you can see where it says New. If I click on that button, it'll say animation layer, background layer, color and texture. There's all kinds of things I can create. Well, I want to create a new animation layer because I want to draw right over the top of it. So now you can see, well, I've got a new layer, but because when I created that layer, the cursor was way up here, it actually put the first drawing at 43. I want to move it back. So I just grab it and move it right back to the beginning, and we're all set to go. So now I've got a new drawing on a new layer over the top of that animation layer. So now, once again, I'm going to come down, I'm going to darken it. I'm going to click on, I want to get a darker line. Excuse me. I'm going to bring this down to, let's set that to, let's say we'll set it at 5 pixels. And we're all set. I'm going to hit 0 again. And now I can come in. Now I can come in and really fine tune these drawings. Now I'm not going to take you through the entire process. I'm going to jump ahead, but I'm going to show you through on this one at least, that I can come in now and get nice, clean, and just sit here and really focus on cleaning up my drawings. Now there are other ways you can do this, and in another video, I'm going to show you how you can use blue pencil, red pencil, dark pencil. Then you can do your roughs in blue, do your cleanups in black, and all on the same layer. And then you can dump the blue so that you're just left with the cleanup drawing. So that's another option. That works pretty well. Excuse me. But because, this suits me, because this is the way I used to do it at Disney, this is one of the things I love about TVPaint, is that it gives me the ability, as kind of this old guy that used to do it a certain way, it gives me the ability to do it the way that I used to do it. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just drawing nice and clean. And I can come through and do all my keys in this way. And we're going to come down in here. And I'm basically just, this rough wasn't too bad. It wasn't too rough. So I'm really just kind of thinning out some of these lines, defining some of these hairy spots, breaks like on that chin right there, defining that a little bit better. There we go. Defining some of this hair a little bit better. Maybe I want to emphasize a little bit more of the brow, so I can push that just a touch. We'll get some of that hair in there. So it's really, I'm just thinking about what I want that final line to look like, okay? So I'm gonna jump back real quick, and just like we did before, I can jump up here and set it at the new drawing, and I can start to draw, and already you can see, because I've set it there, I've got a new drawing right there, and all I got to do is just start drawing. Hit 0 again. And we've got cleaned up drawings. So I'm going to go ahead and start going through and cleaning everything up, and I'll pull you guys back in and show you what I come up with. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cleaned everything up, and you can see I'm going to turn this, and also you can turn your layers on and off by this button right here. See the little eyeball? Well, if you come straight down, I can turn off my cleanup layer, and once again, here's that rough layer. The other thing too, if you want to turn the sound off, if you don't want to keep hearing it, just come over to the speaker and click on the speaker, turn them off, and when I play it now, you don't hear it. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn that off a little bit so that when I'm scrubbing, you don't keep hearing that. So there's the rough. That's what I had done earlier. You guys saw. Now here's the cleanup. So I'm going to turn on the cleanup layer. Remember those dark lines that I was doing over the top? Now I've got nice cleaned up drawings right over the top of it, just like so. One of the other things that I didn't mention earlier is your ability to turn the drawing too. So if you, right here, it looks like a little animation disc. If I click on this and hold the cursor and hold it down, I can turn the drawing. It looks like a little animation desk. I can hold that down and I can rotate it. If you want to rotate the drawing and get a better position to draw in, you can do that. And then I can go ahead and hit my 0 key and it'll open it back up again, like so. Here I'm just going to pull it right back in. The other thing is being able to zoom in and out. Now you can either manually click on the plus or a minus, which is right here. You can see that. Or we can hold the cursor over this button and it zooms in or zooms out and zooms in just by moving the cursor. You see there? to be honest, I don't use these a whole lot. I find that being able to toggle into the 0, let me come up here and redo this. Here we go. If you click on this arrow, it gets everything back. Now, if I click back and forth on the 0, I find this pretty good. Now, you might find that you're doing some really tiny animation. You need to zoom in on it. That's when you're going to want to do it. So that's when I recommend using the 0 key. Also, if you want to pan around, there's this other icon right here. Hold that down and you can move your canvas around. Okay? So there you go. So that's how you kind of navigate that area. So one of the other things I want to let you guys know, first of all, I'm not a huge shortcut guy. I just can't memorize it. I think it's my old brain, whatever it might be. But if you hit Control K, it brings up all of the different shortcuts. Control K, and you can see all of your different shortcuts just like so. Or the other thing you can do is come over and just hover. If you hover over an icon, it'll also give you the shortcut right there, okay? So just for future reference, hit that Control K and you'll be able to see all the different shortcuts that are available. So we've gone in and we've done all of our cleanup drawings over the roughs. And if I can now turn off those roughs, and you can see, there it goes, turns them off. Now if I play just the cleanup drawings, I've got some very nice clean drawings. I'm going to go ahead and hit that 0 key, and then we'll go ahead and play it now so you can see the full size. Now let's go ahead and turn that sound back on. So I'm going to turn that on, hit 0, and hit play.
Oh my.
There we go. So now I've got the framework ready. I've got my roughs done. I've got my cleanups of those rough keys done. And now, all that's left for me is I can go in, other than coloring, now I can go in and I can start cleaning up the drawing, or I can start in-betweening the drawings. I can start adding all the drawings that go in between. And all I do there is I come in here and I say, okay, let's say I want to add an in-between right in the middle. And then all of a sudden, all I need to do is I'm going to go ahead, once again, turn on my light table, like so. Come up here, and I'm going to turn these off. Turn that on. I'm going to brighten those up just a hair. I'm going to go ahead and position where I want that drawing to be, and then just hit Shift K, and now I've got a new drawing. And using that light table, the onion skin, I can see the drawing before and I can see the drawing after. The green being the drawing before and the violet being the drawing after. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that window. So now I can see, okay, I can flip back and forth. Here's my drawing. And now I know that I can see where to lay in my in-between. So now I know that here's the side of the nose coming down, like so. And we come in here. You can see, I can see that drawing before with the green, the drawing after with the violet. And now we got a big change in here in the mouth. I'm going to let this, here's the side. I'm going to sketch that in first, side of the muzzle. And I know, there's where it ends up, here's where it starts. So I want something that's about halfway down. I'm going to bring the cheek down just a hair. And I can go through and I can in between my entire scene in this way, working all of my in-betweens and smoothing out that dialogue. So one of the things, there's a lot of drawings that need to be done when you're in-betweening. And obviously it'll take me hours and hours and hours to in-between this. And that's a whole other separate lesson as far as animation goes. If you're interested, I've got an entire animation course on my website at creatureartteacher.com where I go over all of my fundamentals of animation, what I think about when I'm animating the dialogue, that sort of thing. But here, I'm going to go ahead and get that eye about halfway open, get that brow up. And you can see I'm looking at the green, I'm looking at the violet and working it. So I'm getting that in between happening. There we go. I want those eyes to be a little bit more anchored. I don't want them to be super stretchy as far as where they sit in the socket, because then he'll just look like he's made out of rubber. But you can see he's starting to animate there. And if I scrub back and forth, you can see we're getting that in-between drawing in there. Now what I'll end up doing is I'll finish off this drawing and then add even more in-betweens until I've got everything set up. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that. And then when I get that finished, I'll pull you back in and I'll talk a little bit more. Okay, so I have finished up hitting all of my in-betweens. And you can see, and now I've got all the drawings laid out. But one thing that you'll notice is each drawing is held for 2. And if you look on each drawing, it's actually held for 2 frames. For those of you that don't know, when we animate, especially in hand-drawn animation, we would animate on what's called either 2s or 1s. 2s meaning it's a drawing held for 2 frames. 1s meaning it's a drawing held for 1 frame. We discovered long ago, back in the early Disney days, they discovered that you could do a drawing and hold it for 2 frames, basically 12 drawings for every second, and the eye would still see smooth animation. You would still see it as smooth. So you could do that for slow moving animation like we have with this lion. Now, if you have something that's moving around wildly, like my hands right now, you would want to animate that on 1 so you could get as many drawings in there to describe that action as possible. But because this is moving so slowly and it's very kind of subtle, I can get away with animating on 2s, 1 drawing for every 2 frames. And so you can see that even though I've got 76 frames in here, I've actually got 38 drawings, okay? The other thing that I went ahead and did is I added another layer underneath and I painted in his mouth just to see some dark in there. And I'll explain what I did there. Okay? So now I'm going to pull this back. And when I play it,
oh my,
I've got some nice smooth animation.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my.
So when it came time to actually color in this mouth, all I did was I created a layer underneath. So I went to New, like so, Animation Layer, and it gave me a layer up on top. Well, I can just grab it and move it down, and now it's underneath. That's all there is to it. And then I went to where I wanted that first open mouth, which is right in here. Yep, right there. And I grabbed the gray that I wanted for the tongue and drew it in. Grabbed the darker part of the mouth, drew it in, and I went through for each open mouth, and just painted in a new frame. So that when you play it back, you get that nice dark mouth. That's my method for painting in. We're going to get, in another video, I'm going to get a little bit more detailed in how you paint in characters. There's a lot of different options for doing that. For this, I just wanted to do this line test. And so that's how I did that. If you want to get rid of a layer, just double click on that top part right there, hit Control X or Command X, and it's gone. All right, so I've gotten rid of that one. I've kept this one here, which I created earlier. There's all the drawings put together there.
Oh my.
And there we go.
Oh my. Oh my.
So you can see very simply by getting in there and start listening to that dialogue if you want to use dialogue, or if you don't, if you just want to start animating, you can do that. I start with those rough drawings, It's a very simple process. I do the same process every time. I stay rough. I hit just my key drawings, those key the key drawings that describe the movement. From there, I like to go in and I like to tie down those keys, make them nice and clean if I'm going to end up with very clean animation at the end. And then after that, I go in and I put all those in-between drawings in. Get it nice and smooth, just like we've done here. And you can see, even remember how when we were looking at the rough animation, how poppy, you know, when it would pop from one pose to another. When you get that, when you get those new, the in-between drawings in, you can see how it softens everything and makes it much more lifelike. So when I play it,
Oh my.
it's nice and smooth.
Oh my. Oh my.
But it still stays nice and dynamic because we were in those key drawings. I was able to really push the animation. Okay, so now that we've got everything drawn, we've got everything in between, we've got all the animation working nice and smooth. I'll play it one more time.
Oh my. Oh my.
Lots of fun. Very simple to get to this point. Just takes a little bit of time because you got to do a lot of drawings. Now let's go ahead and export it. Okay, so let's just come up to here. We'll come up to File, and we'll come down to Export To. And you're going to see a whole bunch of options up here. If you click on the Browse button, that will let you know where you want to put it. Right now I have it going to my desktop. And I can just click on it here, and let's just call it Final 4. And it's going out as an animated scene. You can also go out as a single image, but we don't want that. And then the format. You have a whole bunch of choices right here as far as format goes. The best format to export it in, for me anyway, is AVI. It's nice and simple, so just click on that. And right now it'll give you all the aspect ratios, the frame rate, all that kind of stuff. You can control that if you want. I want it to go out exactly the same way that we created it at. And so once that's all set, we just go ahead and hit export, and boom, it's done. It's just exported. So let's go ahead and come up to the Finder. I'm going to go to my desktop, and there we are with Lion Final 4. And when I hit play,
Oh my.
we've got a scene. It works great. Let's go ahead and loop it.
Oh my.
And it's as simple as that.
Oh my.
You know, TV, like I said, TVPaint is a fantastic, robust, full of all kinds of bells and whistles, things that you can do, which we're gonna cover in some more videos I'm gonna do next. But the other thing too is if you have any questions, if you get kind of stumped, if you're not sure what to do, the TVPaint website, they've done a great job in setting up a lot of different ways to find different bits of information. So just get in there and you can find out all your shortcuts. You can find out how to do camera moves. You can find out how to do a QuickStart animation guide. There's a lot of different things in there. So I encourage you to check that out if you get stumped, or hopefully I'll be covering most of that as well in my future videos. But anyway, that is the QuickStart guide to creating an animated scene in TVPaint 11. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start making the new videos, and hopefully I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.